Alright, we are on the play. We have a hand that does nothing except make land drops. I don't think we can keep that. This is a hand that also does nothing, but at least it does nothing very quickly with a Demon Bolt. I'm never entirely certain whether it's correct to lead on Stormcarved Coast there over a basic. I think it's correct to lead on Stormcarved Coast because it gives us more flexibility in terms of how we sequence our lands depending on different draws in the future. But that's kind of just going on intuition because I can't name anything precisely that actually makes a difference with. But something to keep in mind going forward. Nothing to discount with this Geistchanneler yet, but if we wind up finding a Unexpected Windfall or discover the formula, we'll be happy about that. Alright, A-Alrund's Epiphany is also something that we can discount. I'll accept that. Once our opponent's wedding announcement flips, we might be in trouble. Because currently our Geistchannelers block everything our opponent is doing, but wedding announcement doesn't really care. Or we could lose A-Alrund's Epiphany after having discounted it. City Stalker Connoisseur is actually kind of uniquely stellar against this deck. Oh, although that's in our graveyard, which means we do get to buy that back with Lier later. So, could be worse. But now's where the downside of Geistchanneler comes into play, which is that we don't actually have a game plan if we don't find any card advantage. Oh, you know what? We actually play the land in our deck that comes in untapped if we reveal a basic. Because we cared so much more about having triple red on turn 4. We had to start including that. That, more than anything else, means that it's correct to play the Stormcarved Coast on turn 1. I knew we'd come up with a reason that my intuition was right eventually. Oh, I need to set a stop on my... Eey. Somehow we have neither lands nor cards. This is certainly a very awkward game.
Are you enraptured by my beauty? Or do you?
I would like to kill that ambitious farmhand if possible. Wedding Festivity plus Lolth is a heck of a combo. I feel like I need to go back and include 2 copies of the 7 mana land that draws cards, because we're running into the problem with not having quite enough spells for Geistchanneler to discount. So I'm taking 6, 10, going to 2 here. If they sack Henrika, I die. Cool. They didn't sack the thing that kills me. I like that.
I will cull the weak.
So now I'm still only taking 10. Discounted Seagate isn't excellent here, but it does increase the percentage of time where I'm stuck on like 4 or 5 lands and have a bunch of Geistchannelers. It basically, having 2 of it reduces the amount of time where I have a Geistchanneler with no targets. And that's kind of the concern. Like, even when we still had A-Alrund's Epiphany in hand, without enough land because of Unexpected Windfall, that wasn't, like, actually super relevant. And I would have much rather been discounting Seagate in that position. Alright, so what was the flaw there? For starters, drawing Demon Bolt was bad. Was drawing Vampire's Vengeance better? Yes. but still wouldn't have been great. I guess we drew no Unexpected Windfalls and no Divide by Zeros, and that's sort of what's supposed to help us out in a spot like this. Hullbreaker Horror seems entirely too slow. Disdainful Stroke doesn't really answer Wedding Festivity. I think I'm probably supposed to board in the Vampire's Vengeances, and I'm not super thrilled that I don't really have anything better to do than that. We didn't actually see any vampires out of them, right? I don't think so. We saw Wedding Invitation. Well, we saw Henrika, but that's not what I want that removal spell to kill anyway. Okay, there's a lot of expensive spells, but it is 3 lands and a scry. So, work with me, deck. Let's just draw lands and discounts. Those are pretty basics. Ugh, the Duress gets to take Jwari Disruption here, and my hand gets very bad very quickly. That is a downside of playing spell lands. Cool, they took the worst card in my hand. I'm extremely excited about that. Definitely jamming the Jwari Disruption. I want that out of my hand sooner rather than later. Cool. Opponent doesn't play anything. Geistchanneler is, like, just fundamentally very weak against hand hate spells, though, isn't it? Because if I discount this Discover the Formula, and then they wind up playing another hand hate spell, I'm essentially 2 for 1. With blue-black, that's usually doesn't feel as bad, but I kind of wonder if the nature of Izzet being like Galvanic Iteration so badly wants you to have multiple cards in hand. If that means that we just can't afford to get blown out like that. Whereas blue-black can afford to lose some card advantage here and there. I think I'm still just doing nothing, because I just want to cast this Discover the Formula. We are a little short on blue sources. One of the weaknesses of a land base that doesn't have many actual duels. Pathways continue to be not strictly perfect. Okay, opponent's chosen a bunch of stuff with that. We'll take some damage. None of that really matters to me. Sanguine Brushstroke. That might be annoying. Not... I guess Blood Artist doesn't die to Vampire's Vengeance either. But that wasn't great. So if we play Lier, I guess I can Spikefield Hazard away both of their creatures, and then hope that I get to untap with Lier. Ordering on this isn't exactly perfect, but my opponent doesn't have any mana up, so I don't think I'll get too punished for it. Do I want to play out the Stormcarved Coast to maximize blue sources next turn? Or do I maximize total mana and play the Spikefield Hazard? If I play the Spikefield Hazard, we could cast the A-Alrund's Epiphany next turn, which I guess I kind of dig. I'm not holding up Fading Hope to protect my Lier, but I've got a backup Lier of exactly the same mana cost. I guess if they find a hand hate spell for Lier plus a removal spell for the Lier in play, then I'm hurt, but they haven't had a hand hate spell so far. So I think I'm willing to take that gamble. Yeah, the Vampire's Vengeance not great here. I was more concerned about it against Wedding Announcement. Oh. Now my cards are a little bit worse than they were before. I guess we are pretty reliant on these Liers, huh? Yeah, Izzet might be a lot more vulnerable to go blank than the blue-black deck was. I think we get rid of Vampire's Vengeance and the Geistchanneler and just keep the spells. Would have kept the hazard just because opponent's so likely to present another good target. Well, my line of thought was that we were likely to end up playing the hazard as a land. I just didn't know whether it was going to be that turn or the next turn. I don't think there was a particularly strong chance that we were going to use the hazard as a spell. Now, as it has played out, this just doesn't do anything anymore, right? Right, once you transform it, it doesn't get those first abilities. Now I got one blue source to bounce the Lier if I need to. I'll find out if the opponent wants me to do that. They know about the Fading Hope, so they don't pump the Henrika. Although if they had a removal spell for the Lier, they probably want to. They didn't actually know whether they had a removal spell or not yet. Interesting. Alright, I can't do anything about Deadly Dispute. I would love to find an Unexpected Windfall. Unfortunately, Henrika does not cost 3 mana, so Fading Hoping it does not give me any sort of card draw. Oh, I don't have enough blue sources here. Lier is open to a removal spell if I cast Fading Hope on Henrika for tempo, but if I commit to casting Fading Hope on Henrika so that I don't die quickly next turn, then I'm eating into a lot of my available mana. I think I just have to live with that and hope to draw a good card. Divide by Zero is a pretty good card, thankfully. Okay. I think we can live with this. I also think we probably start getting aggressive with Lier. I don't think we're likely to kill the opponent anytime soon, but we'll see. I'm definitely feeling like this is a matchup where not having access to the Sorens is hurting. Alright, we're going to bounce the Henrika. I've got more than enough blue to do other stuff here. Cruel Reality. There's a card I love to see. Oh, that came off their Witch earlier, didn't it? That's cute. Okay, so opponent has 2 mana here. If I copy Divide by Zero, I could end up with my Lier dying. Am I okay with that? I don't think I'm okay with my Lier dying. I kind of need it. We do get Teachings of the Archaics here. Okay, so they yielded there with... Oh, okay. I mean, I was pretty far behind there, but I guess if my opponent wants to concede, I'll take it. Does me getting to cast a draw 2, maybe a draw 3, really seem like that big of a deal? Let's see. Did we see anything that changes our mind about anything? Only that I wish I could play more card advantage, and I'm sad that I don't have the ability to play more card advantage. Maybe I should be finding some way to play like 2 copies of Behold the Multiverse in the sideboard. Vengeance out, Clasm in. I don't think Clasm is really better in this scenario at all. Yeah, this seems like a hand that has a lot of good cards, although it's kind of weak to Duress. Especially if my opponent decides that they just want to hold the Duress. I think it's a mistake to play the Mountain on turn 1, because if I want to have double red on turn 3 or 4, then I'll need to play the Pathway on red currently. So if I then played Mountain on turn 1 and wanted to play Geistchanneler on turn 2, I'd need to play the Island, and then I wouldn't have any way to keep a basic in hand for the Snarl. So I think leading on Island, and then on turn 2 choosing what to do with a pathway, and assuming I'm probably going to choose Mountain, is the bestest line. Alright, I think we discount Unexpected Windfall here, probably. I'm still in trouble against a Duress. Which of these discounts plays around Duress better? Maximum upside is that Unexpected Windfall, if we hit a third red source, is the nuts. But that is the most punished by a Duress. If we hit a second blue source, then Discover the Formula does something. If we completely miss on land, then having 2 mana Unexpected Windfall is the only option that does anything at all. I think that means I'm probably supposed to take the Windfall. But this is definitely the option that is the most punished by Duress. I just don't think I can afford to play around Duress. Howdy, nerd girl. How goes it? Ooh. Alright, no Duress one time. Go blank is not Duress, and you know what? I think that's good enough for me. Opponent, you can even have my Galvanic Iteration and exile it. That's like getting a 3-for-1. Island is not a third red source, but it is a land, and perhaps that is good enough. City Stalker Connoisseur gets rid of Discover the Formula. That means that there's a lot less value to just playing the Unexpected Windfall here, because I don't even have anything to ramp into. Does that mean... Does that mean I don't cast Unexpected Windfall and just try to high roll into a red source? I think that might be the best option for me. The opponent doesn't have a super fast clock here, and I don't think I'm winning without hitting that high roll anyway. Possibly, depending on what they do over the next turn or two, I might even have multiple turns to try to hit the red source off Unexpected Windfall. Well, we'll see how that plays out. But I am definitely feeling the weakness of this Izzet list's reliance on card combos. I don't have any just vanilla 2-for-1s. We do hit the red source. You love to get lucky. You have to play around getting lucky in order to get lucky in the first place. Okay, no Paladin class nonsense. But it's nice when you play around getting lucky and then you do get lucky. Okay, bunches of mana, 4 cards. What's on top, dealer? With draws like this, there's no need to be up all night to get lucky. Well, I imagine there were a lot of games we've played up until now where we did not get quite this lucky. But, I mean, like, that's a pretty good example of how you make your own luck, right? We had a lot of choices. We evaluated all of them. And we went for the one that was the only one that gave us what felt like actual outs. Now, maybe only 10% of the time you draw a card that actually works there, but it's better than if I had just gone with my gut instinct to play around Duress, which probably lost most of the time, even if they didn't have Duress. Is this a deck where you need more luck than usual? You know, the way this is playing out, I do kind of think this might be a deck that's like that. I was not really cognizant originally of how much this deck resembles dragons, in that it requires the right spells at the right times. and can potentially just fall apart if it lacks those. Ooh, those are not a good tops deck cards. Yowzers. I think that I am increasingly more happy with the blue-black version of this deck as we have played with this version of the deck. The blue-black version seems to have a lot of the same good nut draw elements, but its cards are more redundant and just valuable standing on their own. I think I'm going to Spikefield Hazard this farmhand. They didn't want to attack with the Steady Stalker Connoisseur, huh? Oh, I see. My opponent has disconnected. Is that what's going on? Uncertain. Alright, more lands. You love to see it. Now, is the opponent actually here? I feel like we hit the nut draw and I'm still now not actually super likely to win this game if my opponent's actually here. But I'm guessing they're not, because at the very least they could have attacked for 4. Which is unfortunate. But as far as evaluating this deck goes, I'm going to chalk this up as probably a loss. Win or lose, this is a demonstration of an inherent weakness in the deck. That it is just so absurdly weak to hand-hate spells and go blank. Oh, I didn't really think about that, but that means that the blue-black list playing the, I can't remember the name of the Break Expectations, the 1-mana hand-hate spell. Break Expectations is actually super good against Geistchanneler in a way I hadn't considered originally. I kind of dig that. Maybe we end up abandoning this after like an hour and a half, and then just go back to playing blue-black Snow, and cut the Key to the Archives to play Behold the Multiverse. Maybe we do that. And then maybe I also go ahead and add the 2 copies of Seagate Restoration to this list. Because this is also another spot where Seagate Restoration would be a cool draw. Funny that I talked so much trash about Seagate Restoration originally, because it's too expensive, it's terrible, by the time you can actually cast it, it doesn't actually draw cards, and it can't ever resolve it in a control mirror because it costs too much mana. Wild how all of that gets completely thrown out the window when you just make it cost 3 mana instead of 7 mana. It's almost like those numbers are really different or something. Alright, opponent is on the play. And I should mention for YouTube that not only did I add the Seagate Restorations, but we are also playing 2 Behold the Multiverse instead of 2 Demon Bolt, because I've decided that I am a coward and aggro doesn't exist. I guess. It's surprising the entire blue-red shell for Epiphany still seems really busted. Aggro doesn't exist. You can't lie to me like this, opponent. The shell is still good, but the changes we've made to be more reliant on Discover the Formula, while very cool, I'm still not entirely convinced actually improve the deck a ton, and it has to be said that A-Alrund's Epiphany being quite a bit worse against any kind of aggressive deck means that the number of turns the deck gets to do its thing and to find answers is more limited than it used to be. I haven't played Alchemy yet, but I've heard that Epiphany is even better in Alchemy. I've also heard it's unplayable in Alchemy, which bodes well, I guess. I don't think that it's better. I don't believe that. But it is still up in the air how much worse it is. Howdy, Flying. Alchemy's going pretty interestingly. Alright, my opponent wants to play a bunch of strict proctors. I don't think that's bad for me. Right, I have Geistchanneler in my deck. Good point, opponent. It is kind of annoying for me. You raise a very valid point. My Geistchanneler is not actually doing anything. I guess I could play the Geistchanneler to block Usher the Fallen. That seems worse than having Divide by 0. Okay. Well... Choices, isn't it? I could Behold the Multiverse to try to hit land drops here. Or I could just Divide by 0 away a flyer, go get a Environmental Sciences, be guaranteed to hit my 4th land drop, and play the Geistchanneler as a blocker for the 2 creatures on the ground. And if by chance I draw an untapped land naturally, then I just get to play the Geistchanneler. No, it's a tap land. Bummer. But if I had drawn a 4th land untapped, I could play the Geistchanneler and just pay for the Strict Proctor trigger to discount the Discover the Formula. Would have been an option. But here, I think we go and get a mountain. Come on. We do get to play the Frostboil Snarl untapped. I could also play Behold the Multiverse here instead of developing the Geistchanneler, but I kind of feel like with the opponent stuck on lands, just having a 1/3 on the board is actually worth more than scrying 2 and drawing 2. It forces them to do something that removes the Geistchanneler this turn, or if not, it just prevents so much damage for so long. Cool. Yeah, that totally works for me. So now we get to Divide by 0 and Behold the Multiverse. You know what, opponent? If you're all in on the flying game plan, I'm all in on the not having flyings game plan. I don't think I love Mascot Exhibition, but also I have literally no use for Teachings of the Archaic when I'm about to resolve Behold the Multiverse. My Geistchannelers are definitely still not doing anything. Do I want more A-Alrund's Epiphanies? I don't think so. Although I guess if I'm about to resolve Discover the Formula, part of me wants as many A-Alrund's Epiphanies to get their cost reduced as possible. Right, this is all of that mana, so we're just not going to bother playing anything now. Flying knows what they did. And so far it's 9 of my life points. Nah, that's not true. I got hit by Usher the Fallen a couple of times. Oh, a Linvala deck. So is this blue-white party then? That is not what I expected from the way this started out. But I guess maybe Strict Proctor decks are always party decks? Pedro Roca, 1985. Thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. So we're currently discarding 2 cards to hand size, huh? I could Fading Hope a Strict Proctor, and then take an extra turn, and then play Lier, and Fading Hope a Strict Proctor, and then play some Geistchannelers? Lier, Fading Hope, Fading Hope. No, I can't play 2 Geistchannelers. Well, alright. So what if I Fading Hope Strict Proctor? We do get a scry, so there's the possibility I could find an untapped blue land on top, and that makes life kind of simple. I don't think I want to draw Discover the Formula right now. I do think I want to take an extra turn. Oh, did we play Nylon Hat yesterday? I did think the name looked kind of familiar. Alright. Galvanic Iteration, huh? Well, I can Galvanic Iteration Windfall. That's an interesting option. What are we discarding? feel like I'm probably discarding Behold the Multiverse. It's the most redundant of the cards in my hand. Okay. Fading Hope. The other Strict Proctor. And I guess we'll keep Unexpected Windfall, why not? And then we Geistchanneler. And we make Mascot Exhibition cost less. And then we Geistchanneler. And we make Mascot Exhibition cost less. And then we're going to Geistchanneler. And we're going to make Mascot Exhibition cost less. And then we're going to cast our 0 mana Mascot Exhibition. And then next turn we're going to cast 2 more Mascot Exhibitions. And that'll probably be fun. Alright, let's see if we die. I think that'll be hard. Because we do also have blockers. Okay, I do think we actually played this opponent playing this deck yesterday. Because this looks familiar. So they do get to swing for 6. Alright, that's a lot of damage. Okie dokie, so we're gonna play Lier. And then we are going to Fading Hope the Linvala. Because I really don't want my opponent having that flying attacker. And then we're probably going to Fading Hope. Well, no, we're not going to Fading Hope something else. I'd rather Fading Hope something on their turn, I think. Howdy, Profitbota. How goes it? Land. I don't actually know if I'm even drawing a card this turn, so no, I guess. Alright, and we are going to flashback Galvanic Iteration. Actually, wait, hold on. I don't think I've made a land drop yet, so let's play Environmental Sciences, which means this was the wrong order because I kind of just invalidated a scry. Poor play. Alright, Galvanic Iteration, cast for 2. Play Mascot Exhibition for 0. Copy it. And then we're going to hold on to Fading Hope. And we might as well attack with these ground creatures, because I don't think we need the extra blockers. Going well in life, not going so good in Magic. Try the list we talked about on Discord and got stomped by aggro. Ah, aggro. Aggro is definitely always the great equalizer. It's so much easier to play against aggro in an open deck list format where you get to mulligan knowing that you're playing against aggro game 1. Okay. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, I believe that's an intervening if, so if I use Fading Hope to remove party in response to the ability triggering, I think when the ability resolves it doesn't do anything, but this is a good opportunity to figure out if that's true. So this is a wizard, a cleric, a warrior, and a rogue. So we bounce Archpriest of Iona, and both of these abilities should fizzle. I'll take a time walk. I feel like that's probably lethal here. I will triple block the thing that is the only way I die. Sure. That feels like a good idea here. Alright, opponent, am I allowed to take an extra turn? Okay. The Alrund's Epiphany definitely is the part that made that lethal. Opponent agrees. Okay, what are we looking at here? A lot of stuff that doesn't actually die very easily to Vampire's Vengeance or Cinderclasm, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. Don't think this is a matchup where Behold the Multiverse is completely necessary. It's probably also a matchup where I can get away with one less Galvanic Iteration. Not a situation where Burning Hands is good. I think we ship it. Would you cut Geistchanelers versus this list? I don't think our sideboard is set up in a way such that I have the ability to cut Geistchanelers. I just don't have meaningful things to bring in to replace that many cards. And also, I think the number of 6-drops we have kind of makes Geistchanneler a necessary card at this point. Like, if I was going to trim Geistchanelers, at some point I think I'd want to trim the Discover the Formulas as well, and I super don't have the cards to bring in to do that. I'm only going to mulligan this because it doesn't do anything. And then we're going to keep this even though it doesn't do anything. And I guess we're going to get rid of Lier and only keep the things that do things. And then we're hoping that we top deck something that lets us do something. Unexpected Windfall, normally a nice card to have, but in this situation does not satisfy the do literally anything requirements. Would love to find a Cinderclasm. No, Discover the Formula. Alright, well, I think I have to interact, so we're going to hold up Jwari Disruption, even though not having a 4-drop or a 4th land to play a 4-drop is concerning. But we're kind of priced into not letting our opponent play a 3-drop. They wind up only activating Usher the Fallen, which kind of works for us, and to be honest, most of this has thankfully worked out. If I had another red source, discounting Unexpected Windfall would be stellar here, but I kind of have to play Jwari Disruption for the turn. Oh, you know what I guess I do? I guess I discount Unexpected Windfall and I play the 4-mana Unexpected Windfall next turn. And then on turn 5, go double Galvanic Iteration into 2-mana Unexpected Windfall. And just hope that the Geistchanneler buys me enough time to accomplish that. Which I suppose means maybe Unexpected Windfall is getting rid of Discover the Formula here? Yeah, I think it has to, because my opponent has Concerted Defense, which is basically Spell Pierce, and when that ends up countering Unexpected Windfall, I will need Mountain, Galvanic Iteration, and Unexpected Windfall to make up for that. We're hoping very hard they don't have 2 counter spells. There's the first counter spell. Okay. Oh gosh, they have priority. Okay, that could just be Linvala. I really need that to just be Linvala. I guess worst case... Ah, they had 2. Worst case scenario, we do still resolve 1. That's just still not excellent. Wow, it's super bad, in fact. Actually only lands. Not good at all. Ah. Alright, currently not quite dead next turn, technically. Only mostly entirely dead. Theoretically, We're only taking 4 damage here. We can totally top deck some way to stay alive. Totally. Alright, divide by 0 stays alive. I mean, I guess I have Galvanic Iteration to divide by 0. I think I should probably still play an untapped land to play around Concerted Defense. Right? Because Concerted Defense currently makes me pay 3, with them having a warrior and a wizard. Wait, no, I'm probably... Assuming they just swing with Linvala, I can't even Galvanic Iteration divide by 0, because that can't hit a token. So I guess I'm probably just supposed to play the Frostboil Snarl then. I guess I was probably not supposed to let them have a draw step. Yeah, Malevolent Hermit means I have to do this divide by 0 now. And if they have 2 counter spells, which they could absolutely hold up here, Concerted Defense plus Malevolent Hermit, that's counter a spell unless I pay 6. They play the Linvala. Not exciting. Not exciting. I could take the Environmental Sciences and copy it. I'd need both to resolve, and both couldn't resolve. So I guess I take Mascot Exhibition? I don't really think that that's the correct answer here. I still need to top deck something to answer Linvala, I believe. Alright, untap lands. Not actually good. Playing Galvanic Iteration just to not be able to pay for Malevolent Hermit is a total waste of resources, so we're just going to play Mascot Exhibition. If they have a counterspell, we lose. If they activate Malevolent Hermit, we pay for it. I guess playing Galvanic Iteration forced them to use the Hermit. And if they didn't have a Concerted Defense, they probably wouldn't use the Hermit in this spot. Oh, okay. Interesting. They wanted me tapped out, huh? Or they just wanted one more flyer and the backside of the creature was more important to them than the front. That probably makes more sense. Okie dokie. Well, what do we have as outs in this spot? You know what? Fading Hope? I think that's technically an out. So I need 2 blockers. So we attack with a 4/4. They have Concerted Defense for 3. I can pay for that, so I'm willing to let them draw their card here, I think. Amiria's call is deeply concerning. You're going to make the opponent pick up their 2 flyers, since those creatures are Oh, no. I actually could never have won this. I forgot Linval had an ability. There's no way I... Yeah, I just can't actually do that. I don't think there's literally ever timing that would have worked. As long as the opponent notices it. I target Linvala first, they just sack it before the second Fading Hope resolves. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that ever works for me. So Vampire's Vengeance and Cinderclasm did look good most of that game. We just never had an opportunity to draw them. But I don't think that means they change at all. I could consider bringing in Hullbreaker Horror, but I think the only reason that it really even was relevant in that game is because we resolved an Unexpected Windfall, which I don't know whether to view that as likely. I don't think I was supposed to play around what is essentially Spell Pierce by boarding into 7 drops, even if they are not capable of being countered by that Spell Pierce. But I guess, then again, maybe A-Alrund's Epiphany just isn't good against them? Well, let's give it a try. I don't know. Yeah, Lier being out there makes sense. I think we probably had a couple of outs, but I would say that we definitely did not have Fading Hope as an out. Alright, and my opponent does not spend turn 1 playing an aggressive creature. I'm excited about that. Thunderous Orator. Okay, well that's definitely a 2-mana 2/2. I don't think I want to Fading Hope that, even if I might have preferred to have scryed Stormcarved Coast away. I probably should have played Stormcarved Coast over a mountain. There's no benefit to holding it. Double Strikey Geist, sure. Well, actually there was totally a reason to Fading Hope before the Twin Blade Geist was in play, because now Concerted Defense does actually counter Fading Hope. But yeah, I don't think that's how they want to spend their mana. I don't think I want more lands right now. Oh, I do like Cinderclasm though. That's cool. Now, hopefully they don't have a ton of answers to just us putting Lier in play. Because I think what's going to happen here is that I'm going to play Cinderclasm kicked after they play a 2-drop. Then they're probably going to Concerted Defense it. And then I'm probably going to play Lier. Yep, there's the counterspell. I take 2. And next turn I'm set up to take 4. Alright. We do not hate more lands. But now we have another copy of Cinderclasm and another copy of Fading Hope. And Lier is blocking Twin Blade Geist. Which does sort of put our opponent on a bind. Mistwalker is not a horribly threatening card. And now we have successfully untapped with Lier, which is usually an indication of things going well. Concerted Defense currently counters unless we pay 4. I suppose I should let them declare attacks. I guess it doesn't matter because they can't activate Faceless Haven. They're 1 snow mana short. If they had one more snow mana, then waiting until they declared attacks to play Cinderclasm so they couldn't, like, animate Faceless Haven after Cinderclasm would technically have been relevant, but not likely to be relevant, just possible. Okay, opponent, do you want to do 1 damage to me? They do want to do 1 damage to me. Alrighty. Strict Proctor. Do I care? I'm going to go with not yet. Although I do kind of want to play Divide by Zero. But I'd rather play it when it's in play so they can't spend all their mana. Nimble Trap Finder, that I most certainly want to divide by 0. Seems like the most ideal target here. Do you, opponent, want to counter my divide by 0? You can't actually, because there's a Lier in play. That's a good point, me. I can totally just go for Galvanic Unexpected Windfall. Nice. I kind of forgot counterspells don't do anything with Lier in play. So let's just do Unexpected Windfall things at sorcery speed then. That was totally an option last turn, but I guess it worked either way. Ooh, alright. Hullbreaker Horror is a big creature. I do like big creatures. I think I'm just playing Jwari Disruption. I've got enough life currently that I don't really need to stress about holding up mana to interact with them. I think I just want to have the maximum amount of mana next turn to play Hullbreaker Horror and then start firing off spells, which means I think I'm kind of committed to just taking damage this turn. Whenever this creature, not creatures. Cool. As long as my opponent's not drawing 2 cards from attacking me, I'm fine with that. No, okay, it is creatures. I was just reading the wrong line of text. I was reading the ability that it got. It gives each creature, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay. Well, I still probably would convince myself that my opponent drawing 2 cards is better than me spending mana. Strict Proctor still doesn't do anything against Hullbreaker Horror. Five mana to work with. After Hullbreaker Horror, specifically. Means that I could Galvanic Iteration, divide by 0, bounce 4 things. That sounds pretty cool, honestly. I think we're going to go with that line. Maybe we end up Fading Hoping and dividing by 0, rather than Galvanic Iteration, divide by 0. Hold the Galvanic Iteration for something a little more impactful, like Unexpected Windfall. That does make a lot of mana. Faceless Haven, that's extremely divide by 0-able. No, not divide by 0-able. Fading Hopeable, that's the one. Archpriest, okay. Go to combat. What are you giving flying, and is it Faceless Haven? It is. Alright, well, I can't... I guess I can let that get flying, actually. Oh, but is this game unblockable? Oh, it does. That's actually pretty rude. I probably can't let that get unblockable, can I? Alright. Hullbreaker Horror, now it is, then. And we need Fading Hope, the Faceless Haven, and we bounce the Mistwalker. That's Cleric, 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 Wizard, Rogue. Galvanic Iteration? Sure. Which means opponent does not get to draw cards. And I am willing to take 4 damage if the opponent is not drawing cards. Then we hold on to our treasures. And we see how many cards can we draw. And how many cards can we put back in the opponent's hand? And is the answer to that all of them? Do we get to make the opponent's entire hand go away? It's going to be pretty close. I bet we can make their entire... Well, not their hand go away. We can make their board go away. Oh, I thought I had one more. Ah, well. This is still a lot. I like making 8 mana and drawing 8 cards. Seems like a good time. Oh yeah. We can definitely make the opponent's hand go away. Alright, let's play an untap land, because I'm definitely going to need more mana, for sure, for sure. Bounce the Strict Proctor. I do want my stuff to be cheaper. Very well. We will pay 2 for the Strict Proctor, so that I can make Divide by 0 cost 1 mana twice. And then we will Environmental Sciences, which I guess means I should have Environmental Sciences before playing the Geistchanneler. Ah, the misplays abound. I could have had 2 more treasures right now. Well, then I guess we attack for 10. And we were to Jwari Disruption, and I guess this all is Storm Giants. I don't see how we need that. Alrighty, well, I feel relatively confident we can bounce the opponent's entire everything with infinity mana and infinity cards and 2 Hullbreaker Horrors. Now there is actually the ability for them to block with Faceless Haven. I can't directly bounce that, but if they're kind enough to tap down below the ability to have Faceless Haven up, then we're good. And we are all good. Alright, I would like to Divide by 0 a Mistwalker, and bounce a Nimble Trap Finder, and get a Mascot Exhibition. Okay, we are done. I kind of wondered if we might be. So, I don't feel like Hullbreaker Horror really decided that game in any meaningful way. It definitely won, it ended the game. But I think we probably won the game off of copying... No, we won the game because of Lier. That's what actually won the game. Getting to flashback with Cinderclasm and the Fading Hope was kind of the thing that locked everything else up. And then everything after that was just ending the game we had already won.